go get a first baseman somewhere. Paul Goldschmidt is somebody who intrigues me. Ryan Mountcastle via trade, Yandy Diaz via trade. Those are two guys they had interest in the deadline. They would make sense, economically so as well. But I think you need to get a first baseman in here. Don't platoon the thing. Give a guy an opportunity to play 150-plus games.
Here we go. Jason Mackey joining us right now. All right, Jason, right from the jump here, I'm going to give you a little direction.
Wait, hold on.
I need to tell him.
I thought he was in the back seat because the way his camera was, it looked like there was a seat in front of him. Like, did we catch you in the back of an Uber?
No, and I'm very disappointed, guys. I'm in Cleveland. I'm outside of Huntington Bank Field. I'm actually doing a story advancing Steelers-Browns. And so I was really excited to have the stadium in the background, then started pouring on me. So I'm just in my car now. It's much, much less exciting.
Well, that really just sums up the Cleveland Browns. Let's hop to the Pirates. Let's start on a positive note. They nailed their number one pick with Paul Skeens. We had another example here with him winning Rookie of the Year. How do you describe the way that they actually did do something really well? But then part two here, and I follow your tweets very closely, is knowing what we know about how they run their franchise, and we're talking about Bob Nutting, how can they capitalize off this without spending money?
Well, a couple different things, and they need to spend money. I mean, none of this is an excuse for, how they behave, or I'm not trying to say that, it's okay that they're not spending. They need to spend. But I look at Henry Davis taking 1-1. You have to get something out of that pick. They changed the hitting coach. Andy Haynes gone, Matt Haig in. That has to be an important hire for them. Jack Sawinski as well, 2 years ago at 26 home runs. You have to be able to get that level of production from him. At the same time, I look at first base, and right now, Rowdy's no longer there. They need to be able to, get production out of that spot. I don't know who's going to play there on opening day, and they need to spend some money there. So yes, it's money. It's also internal development. I look at the Pirates, and I honestly think they have reasonable chances. And I've been as critical as anybody this offseason, with keeping the regime intact, and I don't think they've made the right moves so far. But at the same time, I look at 2025 and the rotation they have: Skeens, Jones, Keller, Luis Ortiz, some other guys. They have a good starting point. It's just they need to supplement it with some money and some internal development.
Jason, I said it at the beginning of the show, we were congratulating Paul Skeens on winning. Now is the time. If you're Bob Nutting, you're Ben Cherington, you're whoever's running that front office there, you got Skeens, Keller, Jones to start with, right? And then they got a pretty good core of position players that a lot of them are, some of them are signed, some of them are not, but now is the time. If you're a Pirates fan, you've got to be banging on Bob Nutting's office, banging on Ben Cherington's office, saying, we got to spend now. And it's our chance, because if you look at the division also, it's very winnable. The Cardinals are going to be down because they've already said they're cutting payroll. Who knows what the Cubs are going to do? The Brewers, they might be trading some pieces away. The Pirates actually have a chance, to me, to take a step and jump into this division race if they do the right thing.
AJ, you're not wrong. And I mean, I was thinking about this actually driving to Cleveland today. I don't know if it's possible to get a bigger bargain in baseball than what they have right now with Paul Skeens. Seriously, he's going to make $800,000 because of a team control salary. Look at what other guys at his production level are making. The Pirates have an astronomical deal right now. Nobody's ever going to have something like this again. So if that's not a kick in the pants for you to spend some money, to have some urgency, to do the right things. Now, I will meet the Pirates where they are. I'll criticize them. I'll also meet them where they are. I don't expect them to have a $160 million payroll, but can you get to 100? Can you spend a 110? I don't know. Show fans that you care, and that can be done in a variety of ways. Maybe that's first base. Maybe that's, coaching staff. Maybe that's gameplay and how you treat the product on the field. Maybe that's how you treat fans and the value that they get in the ballpark. The Pirates have something in front of them that is, I know this word gets thrown around a lot, unprecedented. It in a way is. No rookie has done what Paul Skeens has done in a long, long time. And everybody fully expects him to do it again next year. So build around that. Go after it. Chase the opportunity that you have for the reasons that you outlined, AJ, which are very good in the division. It's winnable. You can make some progress there. And again, they have a pretty decent supporting cast around Paul. So add to it.
Will they? Because fans need to see something. And my opinion is maybe they have already pushed in that direction. They didn't shut Paul Skeens down. They allowed him to get his, granted, Paul Skeens pitched unbelievable season. He was lights out. He earned his Rookie of the Year award, but they let him continue to pitch. In the past, the Pirates would have looked for a way of cutting his service time to make sure he didn't finish in the top 3. So is this a first step into what you're saying? Like, do something to show you're moving in the right direction?
I hope so. I think so. And I will give you, too, Jared Jones breaking camp with the big club. That is a move the Pirates, when you were here, Eric, probably wouldn't have made. They would have kept somebody down and manipulated service time. Jared Jones deserved to make that team out of camp, and he did. And I'll give them credit for that. So, yeah, I do think some things are moving in the right direction. I also think this regime, and this is where I'll be critical again, is a little bit too much process-oriented. They believe too much in, it's going to level out. It's going to be okay. We need to wait and see, that sort of thing. In a way, no, you don't. No, you don't, because fans here want to see a winner. They deserve to see a winner. This is a wonderful baseball town. I will say that to anybody who will listen to me long enough to hear it. It is a fantastic place to cover sports, to watch baseball. The ballpark's awesome. And if you're not going to treat it like that, if you're not going to give these people what they deserve, you probably see it on your screen there. If Bob Nutting won't fix the Pirates, somebody else should, and I agree with that. Like, if you're not going to go after it now, don't own a team. Don't do this. Let somebody else do it, because there are a bunch of other people who will go after this. But I do, I can meet the Pirates. I do see what they're saying. With having a bit of a core here, you don't have to spend a ton. You can bank on some of the guys who are already here, young arms. I could blab about some of the guys they have in AAA, Bubba Chandler, Thomas Harrington, Braxton Ashcraft, Mike Burrows. Like, they do have some young, promising arms, but they also have some holes at the major league level they need to fill.
Okay, so a couple things. One, this is like when the Steelers had Roethlisberger on his rookie contract, and NFL teams, they usually do better when their quarterback is on their rookie contract. So this is kind of equates to Skeens and what he's on. Two, the best part about being a Pittsburgh sports fan, you can wear black and yellow every sport, and no one will know who you're rooting for. So you can just wear black and yellow and wave a yellow towel, and they're like, "Oh, you're a Pirates fan? No, a Steelers or a Penguin." I mean, you pick whatever team you want, right? So that's great about Pittsburgh, and it is a great town. I mean, I've been to a Steelers game. I've been to many Pirates games. They're awesome. Now, what's the move for the Pirates? What do they need most? Is it someone in the bullpen? Is Bednar not the closer? Is it an outfielder? Kratz on here today, shortstop is kind of their main thing, but there's not a lot of free agent shortstops out there. So what's the move for them, or moves maybe, to take them to the next spot?
Yeah, and Kratz asked me this, and I got on a soapbox and got away from it, so I'm sorry. I do think they're going to do something, and here's where I think they're going to do it. I mean, I don't think they're going to sign Pete Alonso or Christian Walker. That shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. But first base is the first move for me, the first and biggest move. I don't necessarily believe the Brian Reynolds, the first base stuff. That doesn't make a lot of sense. To me, I'd keep him in left field. I'd keep O'Neill Cruz in center. Go get a first baseman somewhere. Paul Goldschmidt is somebody who intrigues me. Ryan Mountcastle via trade, Yandy Diaz via trade. Those are two guys they had interest in the deadline. They would make sense, economically so as well. But I think you need to get a first baseman in here. Don't platoon the thing. Give a guy an opportunity to play 150-plus games, something like that. And then I don't know. The bullpen is an obvious necessity. I think they want David Bednar to be the closer. I understand why. They probably need at least one more setup guy. They've got two good young arms in Carmen Mlodzinski and Kyle Nicholas, but I'm not sure they're ready for, every day, every other day, seventh, eighth leverage duty. So get a veteran there, maybe a Chapman type. I don't want them to spend $10 million on a guy. Certainly not. But, one or two more bats. I'd like to see them bring Kutch back. I think he deserves to go out on his own terms. That is still TBD on what they do there. So, again, a first base bat, one or two relievers, and Kutch. If they did that, I'd be fine with it.
I like Josh Naylor as an option, too. I think he's going to be on the trade block. And they're
Go
going to put
get a big boy. Go get
first.
one of the big boys.
Naylor's a big boy. They're not. Okay.
Go get it.
Okay.
Wait, they can.
You're saying big boy is in Pete
Walker
Alonso?
or Pete Alonso. Go get him.
Christian Walker.
Go get him.
There is.
I mean, that's a way to say to the
zero
fan base
chance.
that, yeah.
We know they're not going to spend like that. What's the biggest free agent contract they've handed out? We all know.
What, free agent
Russell Martin.
contract?
Russell Martin.
Free agent
Liriano.
contract.
Liriano,
I thought
right?
it was Russell Martin.
No, Liriano, I think, got like 30 over 3, something like that.
But that was a free agent deal?
It might. man, racking my brain now. I mean, it's not a
I'm
lot.
pretty sure the
Let's settle
trivia
on that.
answer is 2 years, 18 for us. But yes, either way,
Yeah.
we all know they're not signing Pete Alonso or Christian Walker. That's why I do think someone like Josh Naylor or some of the names you mentioned could make sense. I'm going to push back, Jason, on what Krat said a little bit. So they do let Paul Skeens eat those innings down the stretch. That definitely helps him win Rookie of the Year. I'm obviously cool with that. But when you're a team that doesn't spend much and you need to win at the margins, do you think it was worth them waiting a few weeks for him to absolutely own minor league hitters and them not get an extra high-level pick? Because you have that side. The other side is they did save money down the stretch. They cut Ratty so they could save a few $100,000. They did the whole weird IKF situation. So I'm like, you messed up one, you messed up the other. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, and you should be. And Rowdy should be, and IKF should be. I mean, those are horrible positions to put players in. The Rowdy thing is dumb. I don't understand that totally. The IKF thing I thought was equally as dumb. Like, you go to the guy an hour before the game and say, hey, you want to play? Like, come on. If he doesn't think he's in the lineup, he's not thinking about this stuff, you're putting him in a position to fail. That's not fair to the player. But anyway, about Skeens, I don't totally have a problem with it. I mean, we knew where the innings thing was going to land, right? Like, you go what, 20, 30 over your previous year. That puts him at about 160. That's about where he landed. They would have gotten killed if they, had to cut Paul off. What if they were competitive? What if they didn't go through that 10-game losing streak and you want Paul down the stretch? Like, to me, the process and the important part of that thing is to make sure Paul is available late in the season. And so if I work backwards from that, I ask, how do I do that? Well, I have to probably, start him slow. I have to worry about his innings at the beginning of the season. I don't want to do that to my major league team. I'm okay doing it at the minor leagues. So I think it was the best scenario. Honestly, like, I'll criticize him for a lot of stuff, but I don't have anything for that. I'm pretty okay with how they handled the Skeens thing.
Wasn't the postseason opening day for the Pirates? Oh, sorry, Kratz, you were going. I said, I would have taken that bone. It's like, hey, we got to the playoffs. We got to figure out Paul's running out of steam. I'm like, man, this team didn't even finish close.
I get you. But, they legit thought that they were going to win 83, 84, maybe even 85 games. And in a typical year, that kind of puts you in the mix. And I don't think you want to run that risk of having to shut Paul down. I think in hindsight, like, knowing how it ended, we can look at it and say they were crazy. But I can understand going into this season, if you look at the team that we have on paper, look at what we've done, look at where this can go, and you project out to win 83, 84, 85 games, and you don't want to have to shut Skeens down. Like, I wouldn't want to make that decision either. I would rather lop off 6 weeks at the beginning of the season and ensure I have him for the whole year.
I love a great deal, but I'm not going to run sprints in the outfield just to save a few bucks. It has to be easy. No hoops, no BS. With Mint Mobile, it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan. Purchase and activation is super easy too.
To get started, go to mintmobile.com/territory. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/territory.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on their first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
So I saw when I came up to the big leagues, I was in the organization 9 and 10 with the Pirates. So I saw all the angst from fans. They got rid of everybody in 2009 that had a legitimate big league opportunity. And it was all young guys. And they built it up to that playoffs. That team that run with Kutch and Pedro Alvarez and Garrett Cole and all those guys. And now it's been dry again. How many more years of this will it then become a Steelers town? Because I believe what you said, I believe it's a Pirates town that are just Steelers fans. But maybe I'm wrong. But how many more years of this will fans take it? Because they're up in arms and Bob Nutting has no rebuttal to it at all ever. But there has to be a breaking point.
I would think so, Kratzy, but I mean, this is going on. This isn't just a recent thing. I'm 41. This has happened for most of my life. And people are still like diehard, man. I can't tell you how many old timers I talk to that love to tell me about, they saw Maz in 60. They used to listen to Bob Prince and Lanny Fratteri and, the Pirates teams of the 70s. Like, this is such a great diehard baseball town. I'm not saying that as a reason that like the Pirates should think that they have endless runway. They don't. I mean, I've covered this team since 2019. I've seen them go through a rebuild. I've seen things get really bad. It's been a long time since I've seen this fan base get this mad. This is like end of 2019 type of furious that fans are. They're fed up with this. They sort of understood the rebuild. And what they don't like is what appears to be complacency from the Pirates. They don't like that they're bringing Derek Shelton back and that they just seem to be okay being mediocre. They just seem to be okay winning 76 games. And I don't think the players, I don't think anybody in that clubhouse is okay winning 76 games, and even the owner, as goofy as that sounds, like I don't think he wants to win 76 games, but I think he's being a little bit too passive in retaining people. And I don't think the organization communicates its message well. And I don't think it shows its intentions with its actions in terms of like spending money. So anyway, you roll that up into one big thing. And I think it's people being ticked off. And I don't know, maybe they have a couple more years. I guess that's logical before fans really start tuning them out. But frankly, if it's gone on this long, I don't see why after a year like 35 of them doing this stuff, it would just suddenly stop.
Two things, Jason. Pittsburgh's becoming used to it because they have the Fenway Sports Group that owns the Penguins, and John Henry's notorious for going full throttle, putting it down. So I don't know how the Penguins are doing this year, but if they're anything like the Red Sox, they're see, there you go, full throttle for the Penguins. Now, also, go ahead.
No, the vitriol directed toward the Penguins right now and FSG might actually be worse than the Pirates. It's not quite, but fans are pretty hacked off at both of them. Anyway, sorry.
Ooh,
okay.
I just
and then last thing, the Steelers for years, since whenever, I don't even know when they last won their Super Bowl, but they've been like 9-8, 9-7. Yes, Tomlin's never had a losing year, but they've been mediocre for a long time too. So maybe this Pittsburgh fans are just becoming used to being their teams being okay but not great. And can the Steelers break that curse this year and get to the Super Bowl and have a great year?
You calling us mediocre? Don't call us mediocre.
No, I didn't say that.
I get what you're saying, though. Man, no, I get
just maybe
it's totally fair.
Because like Mike Tomlin's been there 20 years, and every year they're like, oh, he's never finished below 500, but every year it's like 9-7.
I know. People in Pittsburgh, they hate hearing about his number of years without a losing record. Like, win a playoff game. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016. But I will say this in the Steelers' defense, they've got the most positive story going of anything in Pittsburgh sports right now. I think they have a very good chance of ending that drought, probably more so than the Pirates at this point. So they've veered into okay territory. The thing with the Pirates, though, just to stay on topic, like if they could ever win, and Kratzy, you saw some of this in the city. Like, this is not just a football town. This can be a baseball town. People come out. You saw it earlier this year when the Pirates were winning. They were the biggest story in town. People didn't even notice that the Steelers started training camp because the Pirates were so interesting. That was the end of July. And then they went in the toilet and they blew it in August and it all fell apart. That stunk. But if they can actually figure this out and win and compete, and you saw it in 13, 14, and 15, this could be a fascinating place to be for baseball.
Yeah, they're on a long list of teams whose ownership groups want to be the Rays. If every single team in the league was the Rays, go for it. It doesn't work. Scrap it all down. You do 6-year rebuild, the whole deal. Like, they're here now. They did what they were supposed to do. But the last piece of the puzzle is you do have to take some of the profit out of your pocket. And if you don't believe me, Mark Cuban blasted Bob Nutting and said, hey, if you got yelled at for $40 million a year in the center of town, would you take the $40 million a year? And that's really what's going on here in a nutshell. It's one sentence to describe what's happening in Pittsburgh. So in the meantime, we'll just keep blasting the heck out of how this guy's doing things. I know he's not watching or listening. AJ Burnett parked in his spot, so he doesn't care.
I love that.
It's so good. But anyway, hey, we're rooting for them to do something, give Ben Cherington a chance at least to compete here. So thanks for being real always on socials and with the articles, Jason. Fun to follow, and enjoy the game, the action over there this weekend.
All right, dudes. I will. Thanks so much for having me. Have a great day.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.